All right. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into Soul of the Skull. Welcome into our Sunday night post game after tonight's Minnesota Vikings game. The Minnesota Vikings dropped this one 21-20 final score against the Denver Broncos. Absolutely soul crushing loss. Definitely thought they were going to win, but also definitely expected a loss as well. So that was that. So again, per usual, we'll go around with our initial takeaways. My initial takeaway is pretty obvious, so I'm actually going to let you guys go first because I don't want to take it away from you guys. So I'm going to let you guys start, and then I'll close it out fourth.
I gotta say, I thought the Vikings defense did fairly good considering the situations our offense gave the Broncos with all the turnovers. The defense did very good in holding them to only field goals in those situations. And then in the fourth quarter, they just completely and utterly fell apart and just could not stop anything.
Yeah, the defense, they looked all right in the first half. It's cool to see Anthony Barr get back out there. I think he recorded a tackle or two. So that was cool. He was rushing the passer quite a bit, kind of like I expected. I was really impressed with Ty Chandler. 10 carries, 73 yards, averaging 7.3 yards per carry. The Vikings' run game was on top today, okay? Madison had 81 yards. Chandler had 73 yards, and Dobbs had 21 yards and a touchdown. Madison had his highest average of the year, 4.5 yards a carry. So, the Vikings' rushing offense is starting to get going. However, I still think that Ty Chandler needs to be promoted to that lead back type player. I mean, he was getting a lot more carries this game than he has in previous games. So it looks like they're starting to use him a little more, but he needs to be taking the primary lead versus Madison. I saw Madison was in there a lot at the end. Madison's not getting a first down if he gets the ball, right? Ty Chandler has that playmaking ability. He's shifty, he's fast. So I think that he really needs more of a lead role. Also, refs were bad. As always.
Was that all you had to say?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'll piggyback right off of the refs, but I will make one thing clear. Vikings lost this game. It was not the refs. There are some things, I think an NFL fan would like to be called. We'll go back to that first drive because obviously any Vikings game cannot start on offense with a first drive turnover, it seems of late. Go 3rd and 1. We line up TJ. He motions in, takes Sam under center. The creativity, I didn't mind it. It was all in a fumble. Should have been a penalty. I don't really think we have much to say. Kareem Jackson's a dirty player, and that's also not controversial to say. He has been suspended 4 games, and I'm sure he's going to get a fine for that hit because everyone on that broadcast thought that was a penalty. But yeah, 2 times under center, Josh Dobbs fumbled the snap. That doesn't sit right.
It was 3.
It was 3?
Yeah. That's what I heard. There was 3.
I just remember the 2 that he recovered. I know he did fumble once.
He just fumbled 3 times.
Yeah,
but
and one of them,
the one was the hit, though, and then 2 were bobbled snaps.
Yeah.
And
then, the defense, as you guys pointed out, played very well, but just some missed opportunities there. At the end of the half, Metellus has an interception in his hands for a touchback. It ends up being a drop. Broncos get 3 points. Vikings lose by 1. So, just little things like that. Just plays just overall just didn't really go our way. It was a great last drive touchdown there to Cortland Sutherland, big play receiver. And I just don't really got words. It sucks, but, next week we got Chicago, so we got to bounce back. And they're saying on the broadcast that, with a win, we could potentially sit Jefferson out an extra game. With a loss, he might have to come back. I don't really know how to feel about that. I think whenever he's the healthiest, he should come back, especially with that bye after Chicago. But, yeah, it's a game that just slipped away, and it sucks.
If it was up to me, I would sit Justin Jefferson this week. It's the Bears at home. You have your bye week after. I would just give him the time to continue to rest and rehab so he can be at as close to 100% as possible for after the bye. But that's what I'd do if it was up to me. So with that said, I never really shared my takeaway. My main takeaway. I thought someone was going to take it. Takeaways were pretty much my main takeaway. Really the turnovers. The Vikings lost the turnover battle 3-0. It was absolutely brutal. It felt like every time they had momentum, it would just result in a turnover. And I don't think you guys have talked about it yet. Imagine how much of a game changer that if Ivan Pace would have recovered that fumble at the end of the game. That would have been fantastic, especially after, we just saw Dobbs fumbling it and the fumbled exchanges and other close interceptions. But then imagine them just finishing the game with Ivan Pace's forced fumble and then fumble recovery right on the sideline. That would have been absolutely beautiful. But I just think those turnovers today, they just killed all momentum the Vikings had. And I think, to me, that was the biggest takeaway from this game that I had.
Absolutely. Also, one more thing is we could not stop for the life of us that little dump to the running back. There was nobody guarding. Yeah, whatever you call that. There's nobody guarding the running back.
I feel like that's more on coaching right there, because obviously they're going to do it a couple times and there's no adjustment. I know you don't want to get beat deep, but now they're beating you with check down, so it's that happy medium.
I'll share another takeaway I had from the game. To me, Alexander Mattison felt like a tale of two halves today. The first half, it felt like especially the interior offensive line, they were building gaps, and he was able to get runs of 8 yards fairly consistently, I felt like. And I was like, I haven't seen it out of the Vikings run game really at all this year, them being able to do this. And then the second half rolled around and it was back to 2-yard gains, 0-yard gains, nothing on the ground. And I was like, this is the Vikings run game, especially with Madison in the backfield, that I've been used to. But you guys already talked about Ty Chandler. I really like watching Ty Chandler and just the burst he has. He brings a new element to this team, and he's a lot more dynamic than Alexander Mattison is. So with that said, we can continue looking around. We already talked about Justin Jefferson, and me and Matt shared our opinions, or James Charles, one could say, shared our opinions. But I'm going to bring it over to Sam and Big Lou. If it was up to you guys, what would you do with Justin Jefferson right now?
Sit him. Can't play him against the Bears. I don't ever want to say that a game in the NFL is going to be an easy win, but if it's any game on our schedule, it's going to be this one. You got to sit Jefferson. If we lose this game, I think we have bigger problems than Jefferson.
I'd say if Jefferson says he's 100% and good to go at full speed, I'd say play him with limited snaps so we can kind of get back into the rhythm of playing a game and like game situations, so that for the next game after the Bears and after our bye week, then he's a little more prepared and he's got some of that contact back again. But I'd say limited snaps if he does end up playing.
Mm-hmm. So, another thing we should talk about. This show wouldn't be complete without us talking about Josh Dobbs at least a couple times here. So we talked about the Josh Dobbs fumbling problems, but the first half, he did almost throw a couple interceptions, but I was really entertained by him and him using his legs, and especially that touchdown pass he had to Josh Oliver. That was amazing football. And as I was watching that, and then like the touchdown rush he had too, I just kept finding myself thinking, if Kirk Cousins was the quarterback, some of these things wouldn't be happening. And same with just overall him throwing it away and getting out of different pressures that were coming from the Denver defense. I just kept thinking, if this was Kirk Cousins as quarterback, it would have been a sack, or it would have been a lot more brutal of a throwaway or something like that. So I've voiced it on here. I voiced it last week. I like what Josh Dobbs brings to this team. I like the athleticism. I like how it shook up this offense. And for the most part, I think it's done a good job. The second half today, again, was not the most spectacular we've ever seen, just like the second half last week, but I like the element he brings here. And again, I will double down on it. I wouldn't mind him sticking around for another year while they develop and put a future franchise quarterback.
See, Joel, I agree with you there that Josh Dobbs brings especially his legs to the table more than Kirk Cousins is, but I also think that in that situation, if that was Kirk Cousins there, he would have been able to pull it off. I have to sneeze. Never mind. Sneeze came and went. But I think, especially in the end of the game situation, Dobbs just didn't have enough experience with that end of the game to command it as a quarterback type like Kirk Cousins would have. So I definitely think, yes, there is positive that if that was Cousins there, he probably would have gotten sacked maybe 1 or 2 times or more. But I think Cousins' ball placement and just overall knowledge is better than Dobbs was there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was good. Dobbs did pretty good, I thought, but yeah, we're missing that veteran aspect at quarterback there.
I should at least say that at the end of the game, I know I've said I'm in no way saying Josh Dobbs is better than Kirk Cousins. In some ways, I think he is. In some ways, Kirk Cousins is obviously way better. I would have definitely way rather had Kirk Cousins in. For all you Kirk haters out there that think I'm a Kirk hater, because maybe I am, I just want to make that clear. I'm not saying I would have rather had Josh Dobbs out there with a minute left in the game and having to march downfield. Then I would have put Kirk Cousins in. Just wanted to make that clear. You never know. These people around here. Also, Lewis Cine was inactive again. I must point that out because it's my job here.
Just a disappointment.
Yeah.
I just want to voice my support for Big Lou for a good take, because I 100% agree with you about Kirk Cousins at the end of the game. I want to agree with you mostly on ball placement, because there's some throws that are just slightly behind that can get batted in the air and almost intercepted. We saw that a lot in this game. Kirk Cousins, it's a matter of inches, and inches matter. Size matters, and don't give me that. You don't.
Hey, yo.
But
come on,
Somebody clip that, please.
But yeah, Kirk's just ball placement towards the end of the game would have been, and I guess I'll say knowledge too. I would agree with Big Lou. His knowledge and just Kirk's experience, because obviously we won 11 one-score games last year. Kirk's been in it. So you had to give props to Big Lou.
So for Sam O, who's just joining, we'll kind of bring him up to speed. We've talked about the turnover brutal issues that we had. We've talked some about Josh Dobbs. We've talked about the run game today and how it was a tale of two halves. Not really with Ty Chandler, though. Ty Chandler looked good pretty much the whole game. But more with Alexander Madison, how he had he had a really good first half, but then the second half was pretty much back to normal. Is there really anything else that we majorly talk? Oh, we talked about Justin Jefferson. So, Sam O, if it was up to you, would you play Justin Jefferson this upcoming week or no?
I think it just comes down to how healthy that hamstring is, man. I mean, hamstring injuries aren't anything to play around with. Obviously you're playing the Bears, which, divisional games are never a gimme, but they're the worst team in the division. They're coming off a loss. So, I mean, I think JJ would play this week or this upcoming week against the Bears. He's got over a week because they don't play till Monday night. I think that hamstring should be good to go. His timeline was 4 to 6 weeks, and I believe we're going to be at 6 weeks now. So, I mean, all signs are pointing towards that. I think we're going to see on the practice report for injuries this week. But if he's limited and then all of a sudden he's full practice, I mean, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't play. And I think he'll be back. If you had to ask me right now, I'd probably say he's going to be back next week.
If you were the head coach right now, would you play him next week? I know you kind of said that.
Yeah, I would.
Because pretty much the other 4 of us all said no, we wouldn't. We would sit him and wait till after the bye.
I think you play Jefferson on a snap count against the Bears, and then if it gets a little risky, then maybe you play him a little more. But if the Vikings go up 20 points in the fourth quarter, there's no reason to play him. So I think they'll play him this week. That's what would be my guess. But obviously you probably touched on it, but you would love to see him in that 2-minute drill, especially. He's just a game changer out there. Just another option for Dobbs. Obviously Addison's phenomenal. Hawkinson's phenomenal, but Justin Jefferson, there's just a whole other level to his game than all those guys. So getting to see him, so having him out there would be huge in that 2-minute drill. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's look at the rushing offenses here. I'm just looking at this right now. The Vikings had 175 total rushing yards today. The Broncos had 46. The Vikings did a really good job of shutting down that.
Yeah, got to give props. I mean, where it's due, Kyrus Tonga, Harrison Phillips, even Daniil Hunter a little bit getting in there. That D-line played phenomenal today. And Bears rushing offense with Javonte Williams, it's not the best, but, with Russ can still use his legs that didn't really see any of that tonight. So, I mean, the Broncos do have their worst rush defense in the NFL, so I'm not surprised the Vikings had some success there. I would have honestly liked to see them run the ball a little more in the second half especially, but I don't know. I'll open up to you guys too.
Yeah, that I do agree that the run was very good until we got to the fourth quarter there when just nothing worked. The Broncos were bringing that pressure, and it just was almost seemed like Dobbs kind of panicked there in the pocket when it was passing, and then they just swarmed the run, so it didn't get us anywhere. So got to be rough, but overall, I'm pleased with how the Vikings ran the ball.
So with that said, I think we can take a look at the Vikings tight ends today. The Vikings wide receivers overall didn't have a great receiving game, but Vikings tight ends were having a tasty old time on the field. Josh Oliver today had probably the most catches he's had all season. Yeah, he had 4 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hawk had 4 catches for 55 yards. Could have had a lot more. He was targeted 7 times. And could have had a lot more. Had a couple, I won't say they're drops at all because they were definitely tough contested plays, but catchable for a tight end of his caliber.
I mean, they were catchable, but I would have liked to see, a lot of those were high. Hawkinson had to go up and get them, and that's part of the reason a lot of them were incomplete. I would have liked to see Dobbs, throw that a little lower, just hit him right in the chest, and if he gets tackled right there, whatever, take the 4 yards. But yeah, you look at the Broncos defense. I mean, they have guys like Kareem Jackson, obviously Pat Surtain, Justin Simmons, in the defensive secondary. But I mean, when you don't have the linebackers to cover tight ends, especially a guy like TJ Hawkinson. So that's kind of the options the Vikings kind of took what the defense gave them. Obviously, Surtain played pretty good, I thought. And Simmons, both those guys, I thought kind of shut down our receivers in a sense. Obviously, Jordan Addison still had some nice catches, but part of the reason is, Hawkinson, and then you work to take him away, and all of a sudden, you still have Josh Oliver there, even though he's a phenomenal blocking tight end, but, you can't count him out in the pass game. That's why he's a tight end, not an O-line. So.
You just said that beautifully. I think we were all left speechless. But yeah, my Josh Oliver touchdown, if I would have thought of that, if I would have said that this week and not 3 or 4 weeks ago, it would have been cool to hit. But yeah, the tight ends really stepped up today, especially Josh Oliver.
Yeah, sorry if there was a dead period when he was talking there.
You were muted, I thought.
There were a couple issues with that. I had the ESPN box score up, and it started playing a video on the website. So I muted my mic to make sure you guys wouldn't hear it, and then I muted my computer, so that muted you guys too. But then it took me a minute to figure out how to mute just the website and then unmute my computer again. So yeah, that was an awkward moment there, probably, that happened for everybody. I mean, my next comment was going to be on DJ Wanham and Daniil Hunter. To me, they both had fantastic nights. I mean, they each had a sack. Overall, DJ Wanham's just been playing really well lately, especially in a contract year. He probably won't come back. You never know. Maybe he will. We're breaking these out again.
I don't know how he does it.
What? Oh, there we go. Woo!
It doesn't work for me.
I think me and Big Lou decided that you have to have a MacBook to do that or something.
It is Mac. Yeah, it's only Mac.
What were the other ones we did?
I have a MacBook.
The thumbs up. The thumbs down.
Got thumbs down.
Oh, the peace sign, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Was it 2 of them?
We'll have to look at the other. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder, does this do a heart?
Oh,
wow.
Hey, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Things left and right here. Love it.
You tell we all have ADHD. We get easily distracted.
Let's see how many by the end of the season. Let's see how many different like symbols we can find.
We'll just
Round 4
randomly
today.
Joel and Sam, you guys should just randomly toss them in places.
Yeah.
Yes.
send them over
I'm
time.
We can
I'm
just do
gonna start
random
doing that
gestures
anyways.
and some of them will work too. So
Dang it. Thought it would work.
Sorry,
Back
James.
to
That
Vikings
doesn't look
football.
like you.
One thing I wanted to point out on the defensive side of the football was rookie cornerback Mekhi Blackman. He was put up against Cortland Sutton a lot today. He struggled against Cortland Sutton because Cortland Sutton is a top-tier receiver.
Mhm.
You can't put a rookie on him. Right? That's not going to end well, right? So the decision to do that by Flores was, in my opinion, a very bad decision. He should have been guarded by Byron Murphy because Byron Murphy is a more physical corner. He's more experienced than Blackman. And Blackman definitely could have guarded Jerry Jeudy, in my opinion, at least. So I think that Flores kind of screwed up there. And that was a big part. He was a big piece of their passing game. So I think that's something that's going to need to get fixed.
I mean, Cortland's a super physical receiver. Mekhi's not the biggest guy. I mean, Mekhi Blackman had a great game last week, and while he didn't play the good this week, he tends to operate on the outside mainly, and lining him up one-on-one against Cortland Sutton like that. I mean, honestly, but we didn't see much of Jerry Jeudy. I mean, he had a few receptions, but for the most part, Murphy held his own against him and pretty much shut him down. And then they basically said, make Cortland Sutton beat us. And, when it mattered, he did. And, the defense plays great all night and giving up field goals. I mean, but on that final drive, they couldn't get it done, and they ended up giving up a touchdown. So, yeah, but touching on DJ Wanham and Daniil, I mean, even all season, man, those edge rushers, when Davenport was healthy, I mean, if he ever comes back, that's just going to help out this edge group. And, Daniil and DJ have been holding that down even last season and 2021. So, even when they're not getting sacks or making TFLs, they're still getting pressure on Russ, and they're matchup nightmare for any tackles they're going to go against.
I think Daniil has 12 sacks on the year now, they said.
Yeah, he's one shy of Garrett, I think, maybe 1.5.
Then I have no idea how many DJ Wanham has. I couldn't even estimate. I really don't know. I could figure it
I'll
out.
look it up.
Yeah.
You say it's like maybe 5, something like that.
This season, he has 5 sacks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, that, for me, kind of ran through the whole box score. Anyone else got a comment they would like to share?
I just had it pulled up right now. I don't know. Yeah, I thought Chandler was good. Madison in the first. I mean, that run, if they can get that run game going against a good run defense, I mean, that's the key. I think that's the key to this offense going deep in the playoffs, especially. The defense is there, and I think the defense can hold its own. I mean, we saw it against the Niners. This defense can hold its own in this league, unlike last year. But I think the key to a eventual play, if they make the playoffs, which hopefully they do, but I think the key to winning a playoff game or two would be, you got to get that run game going. And whether that means giving Ty Chandler more carries, which they should do. Oh, we got another
this time.
I looked them up. There's a lot more.
Oh.
I was gonna say I was trying to look them up to tell you, but
How about this? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to quick bring us to the spreadsheet just so you guys can see it, and then we can experiment with that right after. So here's our game picks. Everyone took Minnesota except Sam O. I considered taking Minnesota, but I know you guys would have hated me. But I am the Vikings hater around here, except for when he does it too. So that's that. Here's our season standings. That does not count this week, though. I did not show it in Wednesday's episode. I forgot to. So that's our season standings up until this week. Again, like said, where is it? There it is. That's this week's games. That's our picks for tomorrow. And then that's our slate of games that we have next week. We'll go over to predictions. We had a couple things come off. We'll go more through this on Wednesday, though. I had a couple green. Mickey Mouse Leader had a red one. Big Lou had a green one. And James Charles went 0 for 3. And those are our stats, but they are not updated to these ones yet. So that's that. We'll go through that all on Wednesday or whatever day we have our next episode. And with that said, Anyone got any final thoughts? Oh, we were going to go through the codes. You want to go through some of them?
Let's see these all, Sam.
Okay. So the first one we're going to do, heart shape both hands, obviously, heart emoji, right? Then we got thumbs up, just does the thumbs up, right? We do 2 thumbs up, we got fireworks, okay? It's a solid one. Thumbs down, gives us the thumbs down, and 2 thumbs down, it says cloud. I don't know what that means.
Like
Oh,
sad.
Storm.
okay. All right. That makes sense. Here, of course, the lasers, right? Here, we got balloons. Okay. And then here we got confetti. And I think that's it.
Wow. What a show.
Yeah, that's it.
What a show.
Oh, that was impressive.
Let's give it up. Let's give it up for that. That was fantastic. I also have a really random comment. It's that I've seen it how many times now, but I love the TV commercial of when they're in the airport. I think it's for Geico, but maybe it's not. Yeah, actually probably not. I have no idea where it is. But it's when they're in the airport and then the dad says, or the
challenge
not flight attendant.
one?
No, the one where she says, have a nice flight or a nice vacation, and he says, you too. That one makes me laugh every time. That's a great commercial.
Yeah.
You too?
It's very relatable.
I don't even want to go on vacation anymore.
Her hairspray is over the limit. Any of those in the turning into your parents ads, those are just good every time.
Dr. Rick.
They're relatable. That's why. They're like, that makes sense. So, yeah. Now, anyone else got any last thoughts?
I mean, just a little recap. I mean, all you have to do in this game is look at the turnover margin. 3-0 is not going to win you many games. Other than that, just move on to Chicago and let's try to get a win at home against the Bears and keep moving forward. Loss shouldn't set the Vikings back too much, and I think Dobbs still played a pretty good game today, other than the fumble, a couple risky balls. But yeah, 3-0 turnover margin's not going to win you many games. That's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. So that said, we'll sign off, and we'll see you guys soon. I'll probably have an update. I'll send a message if I remember. I forgot to tonight. I said on Wednesday's episode that I'd say whether we did an episode Sunday or not, and then I ultimately forgot to. So if I remember again, I'll send one out about this week, and depending on what we do, maybe some of us will be in person. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one. We'll see you guys sometime soon, and as always, SKOL Vikings.